1969, it reads, "There is but one road to the path. At its very end alone, the voice of the silence can be heard." You with me? Yes. There is one road to the path. So those are two things, road and path. You see that? The path is what we are going to study today. The road we did yesterday. So that means that you need to catch up to get to the path. But no worries, because we're really not in the path. We're still on the road as human beings. But it's important to visualize that there is a road for all humanity, that someday, sooner or later, depending on our stage of awareness and consciousness, we may go to the path. And today we're going to study the may. Some may not. Some may find a shortcut, and so on. It's fascinating. At the very end alone, we'll hear the voice of the silence. The path, then the next line is the path. The path is really a ladder by which the candidate ascends, is formed by rungs of suffering and pain. Are you prepared for more suffering and pain that the road has given to you?
Yes.
If you say no, the majority is like that, right? It's called the open path, exoteric path, the religious path, the civilization. Everybody goes through that. The very few will choose the secret path, the path of renunciation. How few? My calculation is 1 in 1 million people, more or less. Therefore, here, how many of you? Probably none, maybe one. Don't know. It's so difficult. Don't think this is a novella, a romance, a Hollywood ending. We're all going to the path. No, Blavatsky said the open is for everybody. The secret is for very few. So you have to work so hard, and it's so difficult. And in every line she says that. But we don't want to see that. That's why we are in the open path. So, and it's okay. It's okay. We're going to get to Nirvana anyway someday. But we're going to see the difference. But this suffering and pain can be silenced only by the voice of virtue. And that's in the afternoon, the paramitas. You see how it works? You with me? So the voice of the silence is giving us a beautiful road, a beautiful view of the human condition, drama, stages of awareness that we can take as a student of divine wisdom, apply it in ourselves and share it with others. And then the ethics of it, take it to humanity and alleviate their suffering. This is our beginning for the secret path, right? Compassion, love, goodness, sacrifice of ourselves for the benefit of others. So far, so good? This part I'm not going to open for questions and answers because we did that a lot yesterday. But I'm available if you have any doubts after the questions, comments. See me, right? I love to talk during lunchtime. Definitely. Yeah, I think that happens. Therefore, if we have a road, can you read this size?
Yeah.
Can you read the letter size? Otherwise I go font 85. Sorry, this is 80. There is a road to the path. That's what we read. What happened at the very end? We hear the voice of the silence. Isn't that true? We read that. How did we get to the road? We have to study theosophy. We got to the road by a very, very long trip. And that trip is described in Cosmogenesis. Isn't that true? The monad, in stanza 3, was in a state of absorption within the one and re-emerges with a thrill from the monadic impulse, the three evolutions. That thrill, you remember that thrill? You forgot the thrill. Well, it brought you here. We were all sleeping in pralaya, in the germ, right? In the state of absorption within the one. Remember the proem, stanza 3? Memorize it, please. I didn't memorize, I have it here. No, that's not true. That's not true. So in that moment, the earth, the germ explodes. And all the monads, how many? Just say all. All the monads. Countless. That's again 5. By the way, she's my wife. She knows me, I forget things. So, countless monads come out. Thrill, they call it a thrilling moment. Right? I mean, imagine you were together sleeping. And then, out, coffee. You see that? All the monads out. Now, how does the monad know where to go? Because Blavatsky tells us there's going to be a sevenfold division of the material universe, right? 7 planes, 7 fields of activity, and each monad will go where it's left before. No new monads. Not here, this, huh? Kara. So, where do you know where to go? Very easy. You send me an email and I'll let you know. You get confused, there's a monad, where should I go? It's a problem, right? No problem. Blavatsky explained in The Secret Doctrine that there is a monadic impulse based on the previous Manvantara, right? You know where you left. It's a monadic impulse. If you are elemental, you go to the elementary kingdom and you start your evolution. You are a vegetable, not that you are a vegetable. If you were a monadic vegetable, you go to the vegetable kingdom in a septenary world, right? The chains and the planets and the globes. Complicated but wonderful, isn't that true? And we, therefore, we study that in Cosmogenesis, the monad. And this is what I call the unit of life. Everything in the universe, if it's alive, and the evolutionary process is a monad. Therefore, is this, how you call this? Lantern? Podium. If this podium has one monad and is alive, it will be here, but it's not. It's a process, it's a manufacture. But inside the making of the podium is atoms, and they are monads, so to speak. You see that? But to be alive in this evolutionary process is a monad. Monad. All of us. Therefore, in Cosmogenesis is the place that we study monads. In what they are, what they do, what's their names, all the kingdoms in nature, as far as it was explained, right? The Secret Doctrine does not go in all the kingdoms, only the section that we human beings belong to. So she explained the elementary kingdom, she explained the Secret Doctrine, the 4 physical kingdoms, mineral to human. She explains the 3 next kingdoms, which are the 3 next Dianchohanic kingdom, right? And by analogy, we can see that the next 3 globes are correspondent to the next 3 planets, to the next 3 kingdoms, and by analogy and correspondence, we study all this. Easy, huh? Isn't that easy? Then, that monad that is going to be on the road with us, you, me, our family, friends, and the billions we don't know, right? But we know they are in this planet. this monad becomes a human monad in cosmogenesis, in anthropogenesis, so to speak, becomes anthropogenesis, becomes a human monad now by acquiring manas and kamamanas, and then we find ourselves in the road. So you study in cosmogenesis the sections. You see the voice of the silence. When you hear there is a road, immediately in your soul you need to picture and get an image of all this together. How did you get there? This gives us a great chance to study theosophy, divine wisdom. Right? These are not little sections. This is all one big section. And this is the vision of the human monad from cosmogenesis, stanza 3, right? In stanza 4, we'll see the hierarchy of the divine beings that affect us. In stanza 5, we see the second hierarchy of the divine beings. Fohat shows up. And in stanza 5, we get the logos. Now it's a female logos, Quan Yin and Quan Sha Yin, and life then becomes more and more complex till we get to stanza 7 and anthropogenesis, and now you and me are humans on the planet. Isn't that incredible? Well, with all our friends. Elemental kingdoms, she explains 3 of them, in the secret doctrine. Mineral kingdom, vegetable kingdoms, animal kingdoms, humans. Very important. And we study the stanza that made us humans the way we are. Clear? Now we're on the road. And what do we have? A big mess. Why? Because we have a kamamanas. So the road is how to fix my kamamanas. How to see right. To hear the right thing. To think. For that, the secret doctrine gave us one rule. Learn how to think. And the best way is dharana or dharana. I don't know how to pronounce that word in Sanskrit. Anybody here knows? Dharana or dharana? Where the accent is?
Dharana.
Dharana?
The first thing is long.
Anything that is long, first syllable. No, I got it wrong.
Dharana.
Dharana. Yes. Dharana. Dharana is the key in the voice of the silence to become a human being. Learn how to think. Learn how to concentrate. When you concentrate, magic happens because you see the right image appearing in your brain. You get the most brilliant light of the idea that you're studying, and now you open your eyes. Now you have this higher cities that allows you to see properly, to see the truth, see the radiance, see the soul of things, and you are becoming an adept on the path. Without concentration, you can focus that mind, and the mind is going to wander by the breezes of your karma and your friends and your family, and then you have no direction. You got to learn the nature of dharana. This is how the voice of the silent starts. Do we agree? The second line. The first line was watch it, because before you start thinking, these lower cities are going to show up. And they're going to be a distraction. And they can be very dangerous. So what we want to do is to have them under control, and there are some rules in the voice of the silence, and then we open up the higher cities. When we say higher cities, in the voice of the silence, they have 4 names. Deva seeing, Deva hearing, Deva comprehension, Deva memory, remembrance, Platonic remembrance. She used the word Deva dash. You say Deva, right? I'm afraid. Deva, right? With the accent in the Deva. Deva dash word, because there was no word to explain that we can understand. Look for, now that we have word processors, all the lines in the voice of the silence, 3 fragments that talk about Deva seeing, Deva hearing, Most of the voice of the silence is to train you on the higher cities. Every line towards the end and in the middle, in the beginning, Deva hearing. Can you hear well? Can you see well? Why? Because we're moving up. We move into our mana buddhi area. We now need to see well, hear well, comprehend well. Memory of the right things. That was the summary. Hope you enjoy it. Therefore, as a student of theosophy, we have the opportunity that because Blavatsky lived few more years after issuing or printing the Secret Doctrine, we have the great privilege that she lived few more years and the Voice of the Silence was published. Otherwise, we will have an incomplete. Isn't that true? We are so privileged. The Voice of the Silence allows us to complete the story. This is a wonderful story. Anthropogenesis take us to the road. And then what? They gave us the keynotes, and that's it. And what do we do with the keynotes? Very little, because we can think. Voice of the Silence are three treatises, 3 fragments that will take us. First, we'll fix the road. All religions and philosophies are based on that, right? The exoteric world. And then we'll open a secret path for us. The possibility, because only few will do that. Most of us are in the open path, the path of liberation. And it's a beautiful path. So this morning we're going to study the two paths, the fragment 2. I wanted to show you because I like to share what I do. I reprinted the Voice of the Silence in 3 pages. I'm sorry, the second fragment in 3 pages. And I colored the path. So in yellow, the open path. You see yellows?
Yeah.
It's not this one. They're yellows there. So you see yellow, open path. Because I don't want to get confused. I want to understand the magic, the mystery, the occult teaching of the secret path. So I have yellow for the open path, blue for the secret path, pink for both. You see this pink? Right? And what we covered before is in no colors. There's someone talking. I don't know who, a master, I guess. Someone is telling us what to do, what not to do. So in this way, we really recognize the open from the secret and what applies to both. In that way, we don't say things, oh, this is so important, and at the end say, and this is the open path. Oh my God, I wanted the secret path. So that happened to me when I was a kid. I've been studying this 40 years. And I was telling people think about the secret path, and it was the open path. Because Blavatsky doesn't tell us that in the beginning, but at the end. Right? So this is important, and then in this way you liberate. Oh my God, that's not what I want. This is why it's important to really study and then dharana, which is concentrate. Concentrate. This is what we did last night. Very beautiful, thank you. And concentration, remember that, that's the key. That's the key. Okay. So we're going to start, and by the way, we're going to have a break. Breaks are important on the road. You got that already, right, from childhood. Nothing new. So we're going to have a break at 10 to 11, right? And 10 coffee break. Yeah, we have to add the word coffee. Coffee break, tea break, and then like 15 minutes? Yeah, okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay. So, if you brought the Voice of the Silence, then find the 2 paths. Yeah, 101. In the Adyar edition, we have numbers. In the no Adyar edition, just write 101 on the first. And each fragment is about 100. 100 paragraphs, more or less. The last one is longer. But it's about 100. And this is important, the numbers, because in our study group we spend forever. Where is that? Where is that? Which page? Which page? Everybody has a different edition. Bad karma, right? Have the same book all the time. Everybody on the same page or with a number. So this is the idea. There is a road. Everybody's on the road. And then at the end of the road there is a path. There is a moment on the road, a moment on that road that we open our eyes to our fellow human beings. And their fellow human being is doing what? Suffering. Right? How do you know that? Well, if it happens on the fellow human being, happens to you, look at yourself in the mirror. And you will see the lines of suffering. And because now you can see a little bit better, you see a little bit better because you are concentrating better, now you can see the suffering in your own soul. And so in other souls. And that's what we need to start, the healing process, within and without, right? If we still higher, spiritually speaking, the voice tells us, work with nature, help nature. Isn't that true? Why? Because if we are suffering, nature is suffering. Isn't that true? The ecology has been broken. We need to heal nature. How? It is difficult, but we got to do it. Isn't that true? Humans are suffering, nature is suffering. One to one. Then what happened? There is a moment on the road that we see that there is something beyond that for the internal work. And that's called the path in the voice of the silence. So there is a beautiful spiritual moment when we say, I'm ready for the path. I'm ready for the path. This is what we're going to study here. The end of fragment 2, the end of the fragment 2, which is at the very end of fragment 2, there is a mantra. You see that? Om Vrashnapani Hum. Well, I pronounce in Spanish, my mother tongue. So please don't quote me when you do your mantras, because probably you're going to hell. Om Vrashnapani Hum. I have to look for my advisor. Vrashnapani, no?
Vrashnapani.
Yeah, that one. Good. You see what I mean? Okay. So I have a friend who is Nicholas Weeks, and also is your friend, dear friend, right? It's our friend. He lives in LA. You may know the name of his now disincarnated Dara Eklund, because she was the recorder and helper of Boris the Zirkov, yes? Compiling the Blavatsky collected writings. Those 15 volumes, they did that work with him. Isn't that impressive? And they memorized it. No, but he's incredibly good, and they work together on the index. And he loves Buddhism, and Indian tradition. So I asked him, what's the meaning of? And he researched it and told me, wrote me an email on this. The name Vrashnapani Bodhisattva, who radiates the power of all Buddhas, will be part of our reading, right? He's also called the Lords of Secrets. So the realm of the occult and esoteric is his special focus. You may recall that the last line, fragment 2 of the Voice of the Silence says, Om Vajrapani Hum. This mantra brings through Vrashnapani, all the powers of the Buddhas to remove obstacles inner and outer. Don't we want to remove obstacles? Right, this is very important, right? Obstacles to altruistic wisdom, vast compassion, and the ability to help others are among those he will remove or lessen. Here is his outer, fearsome display, and Nicholas. So, before Vajrapani, Vajrapani, the remover of the obstacles in my life and still is Ganesha in India. You familiar with Ganesha? Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. You get the wisdom to remove all your obstacles. I added two. It's very important to add more, to remove obstacles. Get as many as you want, because they all help you a little bit to clear your mind and focus your attention. So I decided to bring Vajrapani to the beginning to help us to remove the inner and outer obstacles so we can see the two paths and the differences. Right? This is a very mysterious moment. Blavatsky called it the secret path, the occult path. Our great karma it was revealed to us. It was given to us. Blavatsky, if she would have died after the secret doctrine in 88, we would have never had it. Again, our story would be incomplete. Happy the society that we have this book. It's the crown jewel of our theosophical education, and therefore now we have the responsibility to study it, reflect on it, and help humanity knowingly why. We good? Yes, this is theosophy. We have other great teachers like Shankaracharya. Thank you. It's not a lie. It's not a joke. It's important, Who wrote among many important books, Self-Knowledge, Atma Bodha, which is one of the Prakarana Granthas or one of the preliminary books to study in Vedanta Advaita, the Atma Bodha. Please have the Atma Bodha in your nightstand. Very important. Do you have it, some of you? You read the Atma Bodha? It's an impressive book. Preliminary to the Vedanta Advaita, Blavatsky spoke incredibly well of Sankaracharya, right? Explain how this avatara came into being, and we're going to study that Monday, and so on. But look what he wrote. I'm composing the most important, you see that here, you don't read that, but I'm composing the most important book that I want to write besides everything else that I wrote. All that is here. The Atma Bodha, or self-knowledge, to serve the needs of those who have been, by the way, this is the first verse in the Atma Bodha. To serve the needs of those who have been purified through the practice of austerities. These are the first stages of yoga, right? The do's and the don'ts, the yamas, niyamas, and so on. And who are peaceful at heart, have cleaned the heart, free from cravings. I'm almost there, I still like chocolate and coffee. And desirous of liberation. See that? Who wish to liberate. This is the open path. You see it? Open path. People love this book, study this book, they get to the end, they know how to do dharana now, they go to dhyana, and what happens? They deliberate. They get moksha. Turiya. Turiya or Turiya? We married now. It could be both. Yes, thank you. So we get to moksha. And what happened to that compassion for others? You see, this is what the masters fixed in their studies. And we are so privileged to get it here. See the thing? Exoteric religions, exoteric philosophies take you to the path of liberation. Now, who is in the secret path? That's what we're going to study. How do you know that person is in the secret path? Well, you don't. Why? We studied yesterday that on the path you travel alone. Right? So don't ask people else, are you in the path? It makes no sense, right? So don't ask people if they are on the path. You have the road to deal with. And it's a hard road. Difficult, really difficult. But we need to get to the path. And what they did, for instance, in places like Tibet, is that if you become a Nirmanakaya and you need to come back to continue your teachings as an adept, you do the tulku thingy. I saw a movie about that. Did you? The tulku. You know that? Yeah. You reincarnate. These are people who, for the benefit of others, they come back. Right? I came back for the benefit of more chocolate. And then I found a voice and I said, I have to cut down the amount of chocolate. Baby steps, my dear. The idea is practice. Baby steps. So you need to know what is called that tanha. What you love in life and cut down. Baby steps. And then that energy that you used to spend doing this craving now is open to do what? For the benefit of humanity. So keep a log of what you do, and so on. So far so good? You see the thing? This is very important. This is the opening line of the Atmapada, one of the most sacred and important books in Vedanta Advaita, by Shankaracharya, according to Blavatsky, an avatar that came to fix what Buddha did, Gautama did, and look what he did. See that? This is what we are for here. We're going to study this. Instead of the path of liberation, the path of renunciation. So far so good? Any questions on this? You got to recognize this line in every religion and philosophy. Susan.
Just curiously, in Sankaracharya's works, does he discuss, like Blavatsky does in The Voice of the Silence, why one has to go through the preliminaries, about why the mind has to be calm?
Yes, of course. That's the whole point, yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's the whole point of this book and many other preliminaries called Prakarana Granthas. Preliminaries.
It seems sometimes that those things are assumed.
Mm-hmm.
And she takes a lot of care in The Voice of the Silence to tell us why.
Right, and my point is to show that every ancient tradition take us to explain the road. And religions were formed, philosophies were formed. In Plato, we're going to see Monday, that on the road, he wants you to be good, to be virtuous. And what happened? You reincarnate. Correct? We reincarnated, we hear that. And then we're good. And then what happened? We reincarnate. And then we're still trying to be good. And what happened? We reincarnate again. So to cut that cycle, you have liberation or renunciation. See that? You do good, you earn Devachan. You know the word Devachan, everybody? Mm-hmm. Devachan, if you don't know, is a state, and we're going to study that. It's a state after death where we, I wanted to show my Devachan. It's a place to go. Devachan is right here. See that? Devachan. So Devachan is the place that, like the wound, the masters, the Mahatma letters tell us that Devachan, new life, before the new life, you're in the womb, you become a living being, then you die, Devachan, new womb. So there is an analogy there very important. So we earn Devachan, we come back. What we want in theosophy is to make sure that every human being goes through that cycle of life, death, Devachan, back to life, Devachan. We don't miss the Devachan. If we miss the Devachan, our book of life is closed. We lost so much time. How do we lose Devachan? That's another story, Mahatma letters. So we got to know and help our fellows not to lose that, right? The redeemables and so on. Okay. So yes, this is important, and this is accomplished by perfecting disciplines. You see, my raga is here, one of the parameters. Thank you. This is very important. So the two path starts with this line. Remember, from fragment 1, we ended on the road that took us to, you hear the voice of the silence. And the voice is going to say the following. This is what the voice is going to say. There are two paths in the end, right? So we open the fragment to the two paths, and it says, and now, O teacher of compassion, point out the way to other men. This is the key. This is, you know, that the person now is in the right path. He's going to, first, the title of compassion, right? Teacher of compassion. And second, show or point the way to other people. And then there is a vision. Behold. Behold is a beautiful, beautiful word in English. You behold with your eye of intuition, buddhi, contemplation. You behold not with your physical eyes. You behold with your spirit, with your soul. Do you, and I think I asked you this before, do you have an equivalent word in Dutch? We don't have one in Spanish. Do you have one in Dutch? Behold? Yes? Good. And it is?
Home.
Is that true? Thank you. So, did you hear what she said? It has to give you the feeling you are not looking with your physical eyes. You're looking with the eye of the spirit, so to speak. You follow what I'm saying? Buddhi, the spiritual soul. You see in what Blavatsky later will call the soul of things. So, behold, all those who knock in for admission await in ignorance and darkness to see the gate of the sweet love flung open. Why is it behold? Because if I see you, I really don't know if you are ready, knocking for admission. I don't see your auras, I don't see your needs, I don't see your longing to be admitted in the path. Do I? No. You see that? So if I had the talent, the high city of seeing, right, the Deva seeing, I would be able to behold you as fullness. Now I can see your past, your present, you're longing for a future in the path. You see the difference? It's a behold. You go to the very soul of your soul. And I can see through you. I could see through you. And say, you're ready for admission. You're knocking. And I can see that you are in ignorance and in darkness. But you're ready. You just came from the road. You don't know a thing about the secret path and the open path. Are we there? Yes? You see the behold? Right? What we want is to acquire that higher city to be able to see and alleviate that. Fix that. How are we going to do that? Paramitas. Expose people to the virtues, which also helps on the road, of course. Spiritual life is an incredible life. Right? These candidates, right, they speak. Now we have a drama, right, all here, trying to enter from the road to the path. And it says, shall not thou, master of thine own mercy, reveal the doctrine of the heart, which is another name for the doctrine of renunciation, right? Heart, renunciation. Yes, secret. But then they said, shall thou refuse to lead thy servants, the disciples, onto the path of liberation? Well, there's a big mess here. Do you see the mess? They speak about, take me to the path of the heart, right? But what I want is liberation. Well, study the Alma Boda. Study any religion, study any philosophy that is open, exoteric, right? Do you see it, by the way? That they ended that line with, take me to liberation. And this is what the teacher is going to fix. The mindset. A good word. The mindset. Tell me the difference. I'm confused. I'm in darkness. I'm ignorant. But I know there is something there. I know I have the right vocabulary, right? The heart and the eye. Remember, the voice tells us most will go through the open. Most. How many? 1 in a million, 1 in 2 million, right? 1 in 3 million, I don't know. But not everybody. Any questions? Any thoughts? No? The teacher says, now, first teaching. The paths are 2. The great perfections are 3. These are the 3 bodies of the Buddha. We're going to study them tomorrow. Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, Sambhakaya, Dharmakaya. Yes. 6 are the virtues that transforms the body into the tree of knowledge. It's a beautiful way to say that. You're going to be transformed from a human on the road, caring about yourself and cravings only, to start seeing that it's important to help our fellow traveler in the transformation you're going to have on the path to become an adept. It's an incredible transformation. And then the question is, who shall approach them? Who shall first enter them? Who shall first hear the doctrine of 2 paths? Now the 1 path turns to 2. We agree? The paths are really 2. The doctrine of 2 paths in 1. It's really 1 path, but there are 2. The truth unveiled about the secret heart, the esoteric doctrine. Sorry about my accent. The law which, shunning learning, teaches wisdom, but reveals us a tale of woe. Wow. No, woe. Woe. This is the tale of woe. Now there is a difference between suffering on the road and the tale of woe of a future adept. Because here is done voluntarily. Here is done by monadic impulse. You just have no choice. Here you have a choice. You see the difference? And when you have a choice and you renounce, and you know you're going to renounce, the tale of woe, still a tale of woe, but you go with the mindset. Thank you for that word. Michael, you gave me that mindset before. And with the mindset of, I got to do it. Right? It's a school that I need to go through. Yes. Questions? Thoughts? This is very important because all of us, my hope is, because we are studying theosophy, someday we're going to find ourselves here. And it's good to hear it as soon as possible. The problem and the reality is, can you read that, Susan? Yeah, 1 more minute. Thank you, Father.
Alas, alas, that all men should possess alaya. Be one with the great soul, and that possessing it, alaya should so little avail them. Behold how, like the moon, reflected in the tranquil waves, alaya is reflected by the small and by the great, is mirrored in the tiniest atoms, yet fails to reach the heart of all. Alas, that so few men should profit by the gift, which is a priceless boon of learning truth, the right perception of existing things, the knowledge of the non-existent.
This is like a tragedy. We have a Buddhi that, like the third fundamental proposition in the secret doctrine, tells us is a spark of the totality. But it's not a veil. It's little a veil. It helps us so little. We're still a big mess in this planet. Where is that soul that should give us the illumination to walk on the path? And with that in mind, and what would we get if we have that? These three. This is in words that would happen if we can profit from Alaya. This is what Alaya in the philosophical glossary, right? If we can get, if we could have dharana to think about Alaya and our union with Alaya, if we can contemplate it and do union with the idea of Alaya, this is what we have. This is what we got, which is what I call illumination, correct? We will be illuminated. We can see the truth, imagine, in everything. The soul of things is so incredible. With that in our soul, let's take a break. Thank you. We got to take a break. Our soul with the oversoul, right? Like the third fundamental proposition, the oversoul. And see what the teacher is telling us, that having it, few people can profit from that gift, which is this. So you will know if you are doing that yoga, that union, if you're seeing this in you. And Plato described this moment as you dispel ignorance, you get better health, you get a better aura, but you attract people that are looking for that wisdom, for that health in physical, but mostly spiritual, because they get healed just by being with you. You see all that? You radiate goodness, wisdom, in inner harmony, and all the virtue. This is a very important moment. So please study this and as a lifetime. But it's very important. The pupil, the student says, "Teacher, what shall I do to reach wisdom?" Wisdom, prajna. They are in the right path now. Remember, prajna paramita, the last virtue, the last paramita. When they say, "What do I do to reach wisdom?" they are on the right track. Different from the beginning. Tell me, I want to be in the path of the heart. Tell me how to gain liberation. Mess. That's confusion. Now they have the right thought. Do you see that? Please see how this is working out for us. What to gain perfection? But you still need that perfection. So the teacher says, search for the path. Remember, the path is one, at the end, twofold. Padlanu, be of clean heart. That's me, clean heart. Right? We all have a clean heart. Before before you start your journey, the journey to where? To the moment that you can choose one or the other. Clean heart. What is a clean heart? There is a soap they sell in LA. But what is a clean heart? Don't say, because we don't have an hour, 2 hours, 3 weeks to talk about that. But these are the things you need to introspect. What is a clean heart? How can you tell you have a clean heart? These are the important points here. Before you take your first step, learn to discern the real from the false, the ever-fleeting from the everlasting. Learn above all to separate head learning from soul wisdom, the I from the heart doctrine. Here the teacher or the inner voice will say, if there are two paths which I just learned, what is the difference between one and the other? Remember, to that point, we've been in the open heart, on the open heart surgery, sorry, in the open path. Thank you, thank you. We are on the open path. And now the teacher says, above all, learn the differences. So, in my ignorance, what did I do? I color-coded them. You see that? I'm sharing with you some ignorance. But I got to know the difference. It's telling me, know the difference. Otherwise, you may be doing an alma boda, go to liberation, right? Which is a good thing, of course, you know. But here we want the secret path. We agree? We are on it. Learn the difference. Otherwise, we go with the majority, which is okay too, so to speak. But not to the school of theosophy. Then, and this is what this part means. But even ignorance is better than head learning with no soul wisdom to illuminate and guide them. So, if you are ignorant, you can learn it. But if you are not ignorant and you're going on the open path, you will just go to nirvana and forget humanity. See that? In this school, that is not working. We got to see the difference. So everybody, remember, is going to the open path, through the open path. This is the teaching, the exoteric. All religions, all philosophies published out there are open path, and they're very beautiful. They're going to take you to the feet of God, right? In heaven, you're going to see God's feet, and you know He takes showers. It's a clean feet, you know, God is clean, and the throne, and all that's very beautiful story, right? And so on. Or there is so many Buddhas of compassion and Hindu God's heavens, and in theosophy there is no heaven, right? The stanzas of Zen doesn't talk about heaven, do they? No. What theosophy teaches? There is a Devachan, right? Which is equivalent but not quite so. So when you read heaven, Devachan for us. We have all kinds of Devachans, right? It's infinite possibility. So that is the open path. Everybody is going there. But here in the two paths, the disciple has something in mind. I realize there is a difference. There is a secret. There is a heart. There is a different path that I'm taking it all my life and many lifetimes. And I need my soul wisdom. I need my Deva wisdom, and to illuminate and guide me with the inner light. Any thoughts, any questions? Okay. And then there is a beautiful vision of what ignorance does to our soul, right? And it's a beautiful vision for the ones who are looking to renounce, right? And I'm not going to go into every line, but please study every image, every analogy, because each of them will give an impression or leave an impression in your soul, in your heart, that in the future it will benefit you. It will prepare you for the moment that the light opens up, the moment in your life opens up, and you will have to choose the liberation or renunciation. If you choose liberation, we'll give you a hug, goodbye, see you in the next Manvantara, have a good dream, and if you don't, you know, we get our handkerchiefs, this is the path of woe, we walk there, and we'll come back to help people, or we stay in the Nirmanakaya road, and we still help people. See that? So, we got to learn the difference. All these are very beautiful lines. Maybe we'll use some of these during the evening, tomorrow evening. We have another session, right? Okay. If thou art told to become, and this is interesting, right? Because in the open path, they're going to tell you things that are very impressive. If thou art told to become Arhan, an adept, thou hast to cease to love all beings, tell them your life. Right? If you want liberation, you need to detach from the world. Forget the world. And then you will detach. And it will give you to liberation. You'll go there. You say, no, I don't want that. Again, these are things that are going to be carved in your heart. Susan, will you read this? 124, 130, 132?
If thou art told that to gain liberation, thou hast to hate thy mother and disregard thy son, to disavow thy father and call him householder, for man and beast all pity to pronounce, tell them their tongue is false. Both action and inaction may find room in thee. Thy body agitated, thy mind tranquil, thy soul as limpid as a mountain lake. Believe thou not that sitting in dark forests, in proud seclusion and apart from men, believe thou not that life on roots and plants, that thirst assuaged from snow, from the great range, believe thou not, O devotee, that this will lead thee to the goal of final liberation.
And so on. So these are pearls of wisdom of the many philosophies and religions that will give you. This is a collection of things that you will hear. And even the Buddha in his life is going to, that story of Gautama, Siddhartha Gautama, tells you many of these stories. Isn't that true? Right? And he rejected them till the moment he sat at the Bodhi tree and became wise. His eyes opened up. So this is a collection, so that it's very important to read them, separate them, right? And meditate on them, so you can recognize when you hear them. Also recognize them when people talk to you, because when people want advice from you, theosophically speaking, they're going to bring you, or they're going to bring with him or her this background, one of these backgrounds, right? And they're going to say, tell me, what is liberation? I've heard that I need to go into the mountains and retreat. Tell me, is there renunciation I heard? You know what I mean? People bring what they are on the road, what they collected, all the fruit of their learning. We need to turn that fruit of learning into seeds of wisdom that will bring those people to the theosophical path of renunciation. That sounds very religious. Huh? We need to convert people to renunciation, but there's so few who will do. So we may sound religious like the master, and then you'll become a Patraka Buddha and a rhino in the forest. Well, that sounds very like everybody else. But the idea is so few will renounce that we have to find our own vocabulary, our own life, to allow people, even if they cannot renounce, at least during the road, they will help others, and nature, and so on. So far so good? Yes? It's an incredible world here that we need to master. So again, so kindly act, thou shalt reap their fruition. Inaction in a deed of mercy becomes an action in a deadly sin. That said the sage. Do you understand this? Is that a yes? Or a no? I heard a no. Sounds like a mantra, you know? So kindly act that shall reap their fruition. Inaction in a deed of mercy becomes an action in a deadly sin. Susan, will you read that in English? Go ahead. Tell us your story on that. I put her on the spot.
Oh, well, I don't know, that's a line for a long discussion
Right.
itself. I guess that could actually, although that's kind of a prescription, it could actually also be another reflection of another sort of erroneous spiritual path, the idea of sort of inaction, you know, to stay, you know, in this sort of, this, you know, this complete withdrawal that doesn't discern, you know, that just tries to stay away from the fray and clearly.
Do you have a microphone?
Good. So, I'm sorry, did I hear something?
Yeah.
Let me tell you what she said. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you see people are kicking dogs and killing dogs, and there is a moment that it means that you need to have a deed of mercy. You've got to do something, but you do nothing. There is something happening in front of you that is begging you to act, and you do nothing. That becomes a deadly sin. It becomes an action. You're in action in a moment that requires an act. It becomes, this inaction is really karmically becomes an action. You see that? Inaction is not inaction in karma. It becomes an action. It's written in the Akashic book as a deadly sin. You see that? This is what makes Hercules a hero. Fearless. Right? This is the paramita that is virya. This is the Platonic virtue, courage, valor. Right? Valor, I think that. This is what makes the difference, even if you lose your life. What makes the difference between this path and other paths. All of us, at one time or another, had a choice to act properly on a deed of mercy or to choose inaction. All of us. Life presents us many opportunities. And if you look in your soul, when you did inaction, it feels terrible. And you go over and over and over. And it will not relax you. It will stay with you. It will stay with you. I should have done this. I should have done this. I should have done this. Isn't that true? This is the human drama. All of us said, lady, you need a microphone. You go ahead. Yes, thank you. And thank you, Susan.
In my vision, I see that deadly sin is the motor to go on the road because you feel that moment and it can help you to be a hero. But that's the road, because I did the same and I felt I didn't do it because I felt so
Powerless?
anxious, powerless.
Yes.
And step by step by step, I can do it now in another way because I looked to the fear I had. I was frozen.
Correct. Correct.
I was completely frozen.
Correct.
And my road was to unfrozen.
This is so interesting. And that word, frozen, it's how we know, right? That we lack that virtue in that moment. Isn't that true? Fear freezes us. Well, there are many things that freezes us, right? Alaska is one of them. The northern sea freezes us. But in morality, fear, ignorance, right? This darkness that our soul, depressions, right? Anything that makes us stuck. Thank you for sharing that. That's very powerful. We all went there. Of course, we don't need to hear all your stories because we all have them in ourselves, whether in this life or in past life too. We all have them. We all have them. And every time that we visit them, we bleed. And so we choose not to visit them. But we need to learn from it. Correct? We need to learn from it. So in the next time life gives us the opportunity to do a deed of mercy, we really act wisely. Right? With the right motives. This is good, right? Therefore, we start carving our path of secret, of the heart, of renunciation. Good? Okay. Therefore, it tells us, be humble if you want to attain wisdom. What is wisdom? Prajna paramita, right? Deva seeing, deva hearing, deva wisdom, deva knowledge, deva understanding, all the words that the voice of the silence tells us. Be humbler still when wisdom thou hast mastered. Humbleness is extremely important. Humbleness. Is the word in Dutch humble too? It expresses that humbleness, right? Humbleness. There is another word in English, humility, very similar to it. You have that too? Different words to express that. Humility. For me, one of the best expression of that is Saint Francis of Assisi. The humility. We spoke about him, I saw the movie. Brother, son, sister.
Brother, son, sister, moon.
What is it?
Brother, son, sister, moon.
Sister Moon, beautiful movie, that's from the 70s, I think, 60s.
By Zakirelli.
If you haven't watched it, you don't have to read a book. Rent the movie, Netflix, man. And it's very beautiful. It's the best image of humility, of humbleness. Be like the ocean which receives all streams. This is so difficult. And rivers. The ocean mainly calms, remain unmoved. It feels them not. This is so difficult. Most people get so altered, can't take it. With all these people telling us things, we can't take it. It's like Jesus, I can take all your sins. Don't try. Don't try yet. You will fail miserably. We barely can take our own voices, right? And let alone to hear everybody's pain, everybody's suffering. But slowly but surely, I think we need to practice this virtue. To listen, remain calm, and help and heal. Help and heal. So remember that in this fragment, you're going to take the teachings of what is the difference between one path and the other path. What are the teachings, or it's a plural, what are the teachings for both paths? What is the teachings for the difference of the path? You follow what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. There's one that it takes you to the road, right? And one that separates you at the end. And that's what they call our code. Very important. Right? And this is very theosophical. Restrain thy divine, by thy divine, the lower self. What is the lower self? Our personality, kama manas, right? And what is the divine? Manas buddhi. So we need to restrain our lower self by our divine part. But we need to restrain the divine by the eternal. See that? And what's the eternal? The atmic involved. So the three areas. Why do we need to do that? Anybody? Why do we need to do the 165? This looks really impressive. But we still need to go higher. And the reason is because this is not the whole story. This will only take you that far, and you can come back to your lower self. It's only when you open the light of the radiance within us that you will not come back to the lower self. But the risk is that you will liberate. So we always have to have that. Remember to come back to the cave. That's why we're going to study the cave. Plato did an incredible analogy of the cave, right? You know it, right? And most people read it. Now we're going to see the voice in there and teach the cave our voice of the silence. Therefore, there are teachings before the path. There are teachings regarding the path. There are teachings regarding the two paths. And then behold the two choices. One is this is like a summary thing, right? One is the head learning, the I doctrine, the path of liberation, the open path, and she also mentions the Patriarcha Buddha as the result of that. The second is the soul wisdom, the heart doctrine, path of renunciation, the secret path, and the making of a bodhisattva. Very beautiful, very different. These are the two paths. So the path is one disciple, yet in the end twofold. Marked are its stages by 4 and 7 portals. At one end, bliss immediate. At the other end, bliss deferred. Both are of merit, the reward. So when you walk in this path, which is one, both are of merit. The choice is you. I mean, both are of merit, the reward. It's just incredible, right? That you can get illumination, or you get illumination and you say, I want to renounce to it. The one becomes the two, the open and the secret. The first leads to the goal. The second to self-immolation. This is a hard word. You know what self-immolation means? The destruction of our personality, right? So to speak, right? It's this one too, but this is the hard part, the hard part. Therefore, there is a lot of teaching regarding occultism of the secret path. And they have to do with the 3 robes, with the higher cities, with Antaskarana. We're going to deal with that Monday. Right here we're going to see the section of the 2 paths regarding the teachings. So far so good? The occult teachings, we're going to leave it for Monday. Any questions here? Any thoughts? Okay, so when you study this fragment, separate the teachings of both, head learning and soul wisdom, I from the doctrine, knowing that you're walking on this one, and eventually you're going to make a decision. There will be a point that it will happen. We cover this. And before, as we talk, remember a lot of this is repetitive. and we got to carve in our soul the difference between head learning, soul wisdom, the eye from the heart. Search for the path before you start the journey. Why? Because the risk is once you start on the path, you go into the Yoga Sutras. And then once you are at the end, that's it, liberation. You gain it. And I think we went over this. I want to, yes. This is very important, 119 to 122, because it's giving us the difference. For learning is rejected by the wise. Fourth, learning at this moment of the path is the path that's going to take you to liberation. You're learning to liberate. Remember, in this school of theosophy, we want you to work for humanity. We want us to sacrifice at the end for the betterment of the world. This is our task. This is where you are. And the doctrine of the eye is for the crowd. The doctrine of the heart is for the elect. The first repeat in pride, behold, this is what I know. I learned this. All these sacred books, all these philosophies, I know all this. The other, in humbleness, humility, says, so I heard. This is a teaching. You see that? Humility. You see the difference? I know this. So I heard the teaching. Very beautiful. Very beautiful. Then there is an image of as a great sifter. You know what sifter is? Where you separate the what?
The wood and water.
Yes, but in this image is with the rice.
The wheat and the chaff.
Right, you separate. In ancient times they wanted white rice. They took out what we call the brown rice. Right? We have to change that because we love brown rice. You like brown rice? We don't have to separate it anymore. We can eat the brown rice. You call it brown rice, integral rice. Yes. So this image is it's old. In modern times, we discover that brown rice is good for you, right? And we don't have to do all this. So, sometimes they call it integral, right? Something like that. So there's plenty images here. And we're going to look at them. I like the one of the lamp. Yeah. Do you like the one of the lamp? The lamp burns bright when wick and oil are clean. Remember, clean your heart? To make them cleaner, a cleaner is required. And we all have a favorite soap, right? But now we have to look for how to clean our heart. The flame feels not the process of cleaning. You see the image? The branches of a tree are shaken by the wind. The trunk remains unmoved. Both action and inaction may find room indeed. The body agitated, thy mind tranquil, thy soul as limpid as a mountain lake. I like this, that to clean the heart, the flame, the result of that, the brightness, the wisdom, feels not the process of cleaning, yet you clean. You clean the inside. Clean the inside. If there is something alchemical there. Do you see it? How do you clean the oil and the wick? How do you clean it? How do you clean your body? Bless you. First, become vegetarian. Second, physical health, like Plato said. Plato gave us a formula. A healthy body, a healthy mind. To get a healthy body, you eat well, not a lot, you eat well. Plato prescribed mostly a vegetarian dishes, unless you are in the army. Isn't that interesting? If you're in the army, he allows you to eat roasted beef. Go and fight. Right? So every time you eat meat, for those of you who eat meat, after that, go to fight. Just get ready platonically to do the fight. Right? So a healthy body requires healthy things. Then a healthy mind requires good music, good philosophy, discrimination of what is from what is not. Right? Healthy mind. In Healthy Body, he said something that for me, I think is a mistake. Let's see if you agree with me. Plato was wrong. He said, no sweets. Don't you think he was wrong? No sweet. I mean, where is it? I mean, where was his brain when he wrote no sweet? It's the most important part of a meal. Right? Sweet, desserts, come on. You don't get a croissant with chocolate, you don't get a life plate. So interesting, he said no sweet. Right? And so on. So Plato was something else. Yes.
Well, you had mentioned the idea of, you're talking about the idea of cleaning.
Yes.
And you mentioned the idea of that, we're different, personalities are different, we have to sort out what that way is. And it seems to me this idea of cleaning, we're going through a process of what is real, what's essential and what's not essential.
Yes, that's the key.
What is the essential wick and oil, and what has to be discarded along the way?
Right.
You think?
And that is, thank you. And that is why we're doing this, what I was saying. We got to be able to have energy to do things. And that energy has to be sattva. You know what I mean? No tamas, no rajas. Sattva, like in the Bhagavad Gita. We got to find what and how to turn our actions, all sattvic, all harmonious, all the middle path. That is what we want. Yes? And therefore, Plato. Is that what you went through? Then, it says here, like we said before, just to repeat, believe that not sitting in dark forest in proud seclusion and apart from men, believe thou not that life on roots and plants that thirst, that's what you read, right? Will lead thee to the goal of final liberation. Have you heard people say, well, retreat, leave your home, leave this, leave that, leave responsibilities, and so on. Well, we live in a social life, and Plato told us that in a social life we will have enough experiences that karma brings to us to fulfill our destiny, to find ourselves. So liberation is very cool, but we will not do that by not facing our responsibilities and our dharma. Any thoughts about that? Yes? Have you ever had the thought of leaving the world? That you love your animal more than humans? And then you don't love your animals because they're like humans? I mean, isn't that true? You start arguing with your cat and with your dog like if you're a human. I mean, I've seen it all. I've seen all that. What we need to find is compassion and forget that game of the mind. We need to find that compassion. One of the most difficult things is have patience. Who doesn't have patience here? This is the wrong question. Do we all have patience with people? It's very difficult to have patience with people. Patience. We just want to clone them. You should be like me. I do the right things, So patience is... We're going to have fun with patience this afternoon in the Paramitas, because it's one of those virtues that can go to the root of our life, and when we think about it, we may think we have patience. And don't test that, because life tests you every day on patience. All the Paramitas are tested almost daily. And most of the time we fail. Most of the time. So it's asking us to fix our soul's gaze upon the star whose ray you are. The flaming star that shines within the lightless depth of ever being, the boundless field of the unknown. So what is giving us is the thought that to gain patience, 137, please, this is the beginning of our life. Every time that patience is tested, what is the antidote? We read the second line. And it is, don't look at the personality. Don't look what you have in front of you. Look at the inner life. Look at the monad. Look at the bright future you have ahead and within you. And that is perfection. Right? If you look at the external, you will always find trouble. In other words, if you have resentment towards someone, let's use a Freudian example, with your mom, with your mother. If you have resentments with anybody, and you say, well, I'm going to work this out, and you go to see your mom, and you look the physical part, you failed. Because you're going to get personal to personal. It's telling us to look within, us within the other, not at the personal. It's telling us to be smart. Your resentment are from the lower self to lower self. Raise yourself to the higher self. This is spiritual healing. Move up and work it out from there. Don't go, like a bullfight, person against person. You will fail. He's giving us now tools to look and how to heal ourselves with the virtue that is the antidote. In the next session, we're going to then see what is the teachings for one path and the other path. And the idea is to prepare ourselves for the path of renunciation. And if you, in future life, whether the next one or the next one or the next one or on this, you have the chance to decide, you will have tools to do that. The idea is when we go to the path, again, we got to do the preliminary work of knowing one of the other. This is the moment that we need a philosophy, a search for wisdom from one path to the other path, and to see if we are capable to take the secret path, the occult path. Isn't that true? The crowd will do everything on the open path forever. Once you go into theosophy, here or in other great schools, if there are some, you will have now the chance for renunciation. You may become a great Lama and come back and come back and come back and help people, right? They will look for you at what age? 3, 6, something like that? When you're in Buddhism, in Tibetan Buddhism, they look for the Dalai Lama when he's 6, 5, 6, something. Right? And renounce, come back, renounce, come back, renounce, come back. Someday he's going to say, Ninos, I'm not coming back. Maybe, I hope not. But you see, that's the story of the path of renunciation. This is very difficult. This is a philosophy that requires superhuman powers. Because the path, the secret path, is the path of self-immolation, the path of woe. It's very difficult. And we're going to see why, we're going to see the details, and you're going to see if you're ready for that. And if you don't see it, it's okay. You are in the open path, you don't see it. It's fine. Someday you will see it, and you will choose if you choose. If not, the open path will take you to liberation, which is what the Bodhisattvas want, right? And for the liberation of everybody I'm here renouncing this. Something like that? That's the liberation of you. And if you liberate, I fulfill my destiny. So it's okay. The open path is okay. Yet, incredibly beautiful is to be able to help humanity. Do you see that? Yes? Okay. Let's take our lunch break. It's noon. and then we'll continue, we will look at the differences of both paths, and in the late afternoon, we're going to do the second part of the paramitas, which is the workshop on the paramitas, and that is really